Every person that is vaccinated needs to get 2 doses. Within the next couple of weeks, you will start to have access to the vaccine.
A shot of hope in the battle against malaria as Health Ministry receives over 800,000 doses of game-changing R21 malaria vaccine.
We have the responsibilities of protecting this infrastructure, and the way to go is whole of government and whole of society approach.
Nigeria bolsters cyber defense as Vice President Shettima unveils comprehensive strategy at 2024 Cybersecurity Conference.
By the effluxion of time, the governorship election is due next year.
Also tonight, INEC fixes November 8, 2025 for Anambra State governorship election. From wherever you're watching around the world and across Nigeria, thanks for joining us on NTA Network News tonight. I am Jumma Yasov. Benny Adams will be bringing us tidbits on business, and Francesca Bele will bring us happenings in the world of sports. Remember, you can follow this news broadcast live on all of our social media platforms displayed on your screen. We begin with the news of hope in the battle against malaria in Nigeria, with a confirmation that more than 800,000 doses of R21 malaria vaccine have been donated by Gavi Alliance and partners to reduce the burden of malaria in Nigeria. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Ali Party, had during the presentation of the vaccine at the National Strategic Cold Store, Abuja, giving assurance of their safety and efficiency. Elizabeth Omori reports.
Malaria, a health challenge in Africa. Studies have shown that about 4 out of 5 malaria cases in Nigeria occur in children less than 5 years.
For the benefit of all mankind.
The delivery of these doses, the Minister of Health and Social Welfare explained, is to reduce the prevalence of the disease among children. Kebbi and Bayelsa states are the first beneficiaries of the first batch.
Parent has an opportunity to immunize their child against malaria, they will take advantage of that. State government will also step up and find ways within the increasing revenues that they have, how they can complement federal government in terms of co-financing.
The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency revealed that the vaccines have been assessed and certified by NAFDAC and other partners for use.
Every person that is vaccinated needs to get 2 doses. Within the next couple of weeks, you will start to have access to the vaccine.
It's efficacious, and it has been proven with strong evidence.
The cold chain has the integrity needed to keep safe the vaccines and to keep them effective.
Prioritized public financing and engagement with community and religious leaders, the minister emphasized, will accelerate efforts to reduce malaria cases by 2030. Elizabeth Omori, NTA News.
Definitely a shot of hope in the battle against malaria in Nigeria. Now let's bring in Elizabeth to tell us a bit more on what the public needs to know about the game-changing R21 malaria vaccine, which is poised to save millions of lives from the world's deadliest parasite, especially in sub-Saharan Africa. Elizabeth, let's hear from you.
Thank you so much, Juma. Actually, R21 malaria vaccine is the world's first malaria vaccine approved by WHO in 2021. And this vaccine is actually protein-based. It is targeted at Plasmodium falciparum, which is the most deadly malaria parasite ever existed. Now, most times when we talk about vaccination, people ask so much questions pop up. What are the benefits of vaccination? Now, for this particular vaccine, it reduces malaria cases by 30 to 40% of cases in children under 5. It prevents hospitalization all the time. And of course, there's this clause in saving lives. It saves lives. Lives are estimated for 40 to 100,000 annually. Lives are saved. Now, Nigeria is said to have a high malaria burden. Nigeria accounts for 27% of global malaria cases. And we ask who are at risk. Of course, children under age 5. pregnant women, rural dwellers, especially those in villages, of course, the elderly actually. When we talk about the potential of this vaccine, it actually impacts the lives of the people in rural area more. That is, if they take the vaccine. Now, people ask, how do we roll these strategies? How do we carry out the strategies? WHO recommends a 4-dose schedule of under 5, which is very important. Government is partnering with WHO, UNICEF, and other stakeholders in this. And this is because we have to get it right. Malaria is killing more children. And there's also the need for us to monitor and evaluate. And this can be achieved through research to assess effectiveness and inform our policies. Oftentimes people ask, malaria kills so much. It does kill. And we have to be very, very careful. And most times, medical experts recommend that we clean our environments, to rid malaria, we eat properly, and then use the mosquito-treated nets, of course, which I know Jumai uses. Jumai?
Yes, indeed. You know, Elizabeth, the fear of malaria is the beginning of wisdom. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, foreign investment drive of the Tinubu administration got another significant boost as several investors from Sweden committed to invest millions of dollars in Nigeria's digital economy, health and other critical sector. This is coming as Vice President Kashim Shettima engages in bilateral talks with major investors in Sweden. State House correspondent Abdurrahman Jibrila reports.
This commitment followed assurance to global investors at a business meeting with Swedish businesses in Stockholm. As Vice President Kashim Shettima said, they can now take advantage of Nigeria's growing investment climate, which is currently providing limitless opportunities for serious investors. He cited opportunities that abound in Nigeria, including digital economy, agriculture, renewable energy, and micro, small, and medium enterprises. He recalled that trade between Nigeria and Sweden grew by 30% in 2022, informing a greater need for deeper collaboration between both nations.
The average age of the Nigerian nation is 16.9. Hope springs eternal from the hearts of men. I'm an eternal optimist, but I'm also a realist. The anticipated demographic bulge in Nigeria, with your partnership, we are capable of transforming it into demographic dividends, not the much feared demographic disaster that will consume all of us. Once we harness the potentials of the youth, once we give them hope for a better tomorrow, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, there is hope for a better tomorrow.
Vice President Shettima also emphasized Nigeria's population as Africa's largest, saying the nation's strategic advantage is not solely based on being the largest ICT market or the most populous nation in Africa, but also on the creativity and knowledge sharing of youth population, which he described as the real engine of the nation's economy. Edgar Lugzak, chairman, partner and head of advisory Epicenter Sweden, noted that the future is digital, assuring that the Epicenter is ready to engage not just in words, but in action. He noted that through collaboration, both countries can build a stronger economy, create jobs, and most importantly, ensure a future for the generations to come. Akinola Jones, director of Gulwa, a digital wallet service, said as part of its contribution to the renewed hope agenda of the Tinubu administration, the company will train 30,000 youths in digital skills. Jones said they had already started training about 1,000 persons in Jigawa State, adding that they were committing $100 million across Nigeria. Abraham Jibrila, NTA News.
Moving on, Nigeria is adopting a comprehensive approach to protect the nation's cyberspace against attacks. Defense correspondent Ismail Musa reports that Vice President Kashim Shettima stated this via a video message at the 2024 Cybersecurity Conference in Abuja.
A 2021 Africa Cybersecurity report indicates that Cyber attacks in Africa increased by 300% in the face of digital growth. These threats target both public and private critical socioeconomic activities. Similarly, a 2024 cybersecurity report projects more than $10.5 trillion global revenue loss to cybercrime. In a video message to the 2024 Cybersecurity Conference, Vice President Shettima stressed that the task of protecting the nation's critical infrastructure from cyber attacks is not just a necessity, but a priority that must be achieved.
In an era where digital transformation is reshaping industries and infrastructure, the necessity of protecting our systems from increasingly sophisticated cyber threats has never been more urgent. Cybersecurity is not just a technical issue. It is a fundamental pillar of our economic stability and growth.
The Managing Director, Central Security Clearance System, emphasized that technology can be both a potential ally or a dangerous adversary, stressing the need for vigilant and collective approach to combating cyber threats.
There has been a staggering rise from 3 trillion just a few years ago. And of course, this underscores the urgent need for robust cybersecurity measures, especially as we witness a 45% increase in ransomware attacks. That's a lot.
In an era where digital threats are evolving at unprecedented pace, we have the responsibilities of protecting this infrastructure. And the way to go is whole of government and whole of society approach.
The 2024 conference is focusing on cybersecurity, synergizing artificial intelligence and infrastructure. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Now, still on boosting security, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, is attributing recent successes and feats achieved in securing the country to improve synergy among security agencies and the expression of political will by the federal government. He stated this at an occasion which hosted the destruction of more than 2,000 illicit weapons facilitated by the National Center for the Control of Small and Light Weapons in Abuja. Again, Defense Correspondent Ismail Musa tells us more.
More than 2,000 weapons being destroyed by the National Center for the Control of Small and Light Weapons to curb the circulation of illicit arms in Nigeria. 12 billion rounds of ammunition are said to be manufactured annually. 857 million small and light weapons in circulation globally. 70% of these are said to be in Africa, with Nigeria having the largest number. Nigeria's porous borders tend to amplify the illicit act, fueling terrorism, banditry, and secessionist agitation in parts of the country.
This destruction exercise today is not just a symbolic act. It has tangible security implications. By permanently removing these arms from circulation, we reduce the risk they pose to our communities and send a clear message, and that is, Nigeria will not tolerate the illegal trafficking and possession of small arms and light weapons. Coordinated approach.
The National Security Advisor reaffirms renewed commitment to secure the country, attributing successes recorded to synergy among security agencies.
This event serves as a testament to our resolve to rid Nigeria of menace of illegal arms while ensuring a safer, more secure and prosperous country. We will fight it. We will secure this country. We will work. We are not going to relent.
The arms destruction exercise is the third in the series since the establishment of the center in 2020. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
To legislative matters now, the Senate wants the federal government to use emergency funds for the immediate repair of all bridges across the country. This is in response to motion from Senator Sani Musa on the collapse of the Zungeru Bridge along Mina, Zungeri-Tegina Road, which he says has forced diversion to the old bridge originally designed for railway. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports on these and other proceedings at Senate's Thursday's plenary.
The Zungeru Bridge collapse and diversion of commuters, Senator Musa noted, is affecting economic activities and has heightened insecurity in the area.
The continuous usage of the old bridge will lead to devastating social and economic consequences that could further aggravate insecurity.
the capital contingency can be utilized to attend to these emergencies.
Funds domiciled in the service routes to cater for the immediate repairs of the Zunguri Bridge and all other bridges that are in this state of disrepair across the nation.
The legislators urge relevant agencies to assess and evaluate the state of bridges in Nigeria towards outlining a long-term strategy for sustenance. Senate passed for second reading a proposed legislation that would enhance provision of working capital for micro, small and medium enterprises in Nigeria.
So that their operation cycle can be faster. When you do factoring, small businessmen use their invoices to borrow money from a third party.
Bills seeking the establishment of Federal University of Technology in Akwa Ibom State and Federal College of Agriculture and Animal Husbandry in Gombe State passed second reading.
My senatorial district is agrarian. It's the food basket of that state.
We need to build our capacity in the agricultural sector.
Meanwhile, the 10th Senate has passed a vote of confidence in the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, and the entire leadership.
All of us should stand united.
I feel humbled, but I'm obligated to put the question. Those in support that this vote of confidence on the Senate leadership be carried, say aye. Those against, say nay. They are not here. The ayes have it.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
And in the bid to strengthen oversight of federal procurement policies and procedures, the House of Representatives has passed a resolution calling for an increase in the budgetary allocation for the Bureau of Public Procurement, BPP. This decision is aimed at enhancing the Bureau's capacity to monitor procurement processes across over 800 government ministries, departments and agencies. National Assembly correspondent Mitere Ikpen will tell us more. Let's take a listen.
Speaker, distinguished colleagues. Presenting the motion, Representative Uyime Idem describes the 1.8 billion naira 2024 budgetary allocation of the Bureau of Public Procurement as grossly inadequate to carry out its statutory responsibilities.
The House notes the need for the attainment of transparency, competitiveness, cost effectiveness, value for money, and professionalism in the public sector procurement system.
This motion is referred to the Committees on Public Procurement, Appropriation and National Planning for further legislative action.
Meanwhile, a bill to make it mandatory for government ministries, departments and agencies to prioritize local manufacturers and indigenous companies in the procurement of goods and services scaled second reading.
Prohibit the exclusion of locally produced goods in the procurement process, to repeal Local Content Act of 2010.
The House also passed for second reading 2 bills to create a new state in the South-South region, as well as to establish a National Institute for Organic Agriculture and Food Safety Research.
To create a new state to be known as Abuja State and for related matters.
Establish the National Institute for Organic Agriculture and Food Safety Research in Olona North Farm Settlement, Isquato, Abia State.
Lawmakers at Thursday's plenary referred the bill seeking independent candidacy to the House Committee on Constitution Review for comprehensive consideration and further legislative action. From the National Assembly, Mitaire Ikwen, NTA News.
You're watching NTA Network News. The news will be back in a moment. Let's bring you up to speed with other news as the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has fixed November 8, 2024 for the conduct of Anambra State governorship election. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu announced this at a meeting with chairmen of political parties and the leadership of the Inter-Party Advisory Council, IPAC, in Abuja. INEC also appealed to political parties to be civil as campaigns continue in the November 16 Ondo State governorship election.
As you are aware, the last governorship election in Anambra State was held on the 6th of November 2021. By the effluxion of time, the governorship election is due next year. Consequently, the Commission has approved that the 2025 Anambra State governorship election will hold on Saturday, 8th November 2025. In compliance with the mandatory requirement of 360 days, the formal notice for the election will be published on the 13th of November 2024. Party primaries will be held from 20th March 2025 to 10th April 2025. And here is a copy of the 2025 Anambra State governorship election.
And as electioneering activities gather momentum in Ondo State, political parties and their candidates have pledged to ensure a violence-free, peaceful and credible governorship election at one-day Election Peace and Security Summit in Akure. Paul Omukago reports on these and more.
The candidate of the All Progressives Congress, APC, and incumbent governor of Ondo State, led other political parties in pledging to ensure a violence-free election.
I promise to ensure that our oath that I took on that day to maintain peace, to ensure security and welfare of the people, I'm seriously affirming that same now.
PDP as a party, a peace-loving party, we've been doing the needful preaching to all our supporters as to the reason why they must follow suit.
The absence of peace is going to destroy everything that we are building, the democratic institutions we have suffered to build.
In a message to the summit, INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu stressed the need for all stakeholders to adhere to the rules and ensure that supporters are properly educated and warn against actions that could disrupt the peaceful conduct of the election.
This summit is an opportunity for us to build confidence, uphold transparency, and mitigate potential threats that could undermine the integrity of the electoral process.
On campaign updates, the All Progressives Congress APC has concluded its first phase of electioneering campaign across the 3 senatorial districts of the state. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, and the New Nigerian People's Party, NNPP, have also launched their campaigns, all vying for success in the upcoming November 16 governorship election. In Akure, Paul Omukago, NTA News.
Away from electoral matters, Nigeria's First Lady Oluremi Tinubu was in Maiduguri for a one-day visit, during which she presented her Renewed Hope initiative support to women affected by the flood disaster. The First Lady during the visit announced plans to support women whose means of livelihood were affected by the flood with additional 250 million naira. Mohammed Goni reports.
The First Lady, accompanied by the wife of the Vice President, as well as other dignitaries, were received by Governor Bagana Umar Azilim, his deputy Umar Usman Kadafur, wife of the state governor, politicians, and top government functionaries. The First Lady paid courtesy visit on the Sheikh of Borno, Abubakar ibn Umar Garba El Kanemi, where she empathized with the royal father over the flood disaster and intimated him on her visit to the state.
Your women need money to trade again. We did that for all the women in Nigeria. We just only took 1,000. But we will work again with the First Lady of Borno, Dr. Zulu, and find out how many women we can, petty traders that we can empower quickly. Because we are going to do that also. But today we just brought relief materials, clothing, food items, toiletries that we worked with Her Excellency to let us know all the items to bring, and we are here to donate to the government.
You are well and sufficiently represented by Her Excellency, the wife of the Vice President. Immediately a few days after the event.
Sincere thanks and appreciation to Her Excellency for being here. Personally, to sympathize with us over the recent unfortunate situation.
At the Government House, the First Lady Oluremi Tinubu made symbolic presentation of the relief items that include clothing, dignity kits, and other household needs for women affected by flood disaster.
When women are held, there will be guarantee of food on the table for the family. So we decided, we've done the petty traders before, that we are going to do another 250 million to cover about 5,000 women petty traders, or 50,000 each. So we'll be doing that immediately we get back to Abuja. I want to say that this will be the last time we will experience this type of disaster in this state and even across in Nigeria. We pray that God will bless this land. It's a very, very special land.
Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Muhammad Ali Fati, presented pharmaceutical products donated by stakeholders in the industry, WHO and other donors. The chairman, Renewed Hope Initiative, had earlier donated 500 million naira to support the recovery efforts of the state government. In Maiduguri, Mohamed Goni, NTA News.
Meanwhile, a federal government delegation led by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, was in Jigawa to commiserate with the government and people of the state over the recent petrol tanker explosion that claimed over 150 lives in Majia town of Taura local government area. Mohammed Musa Askira reports.
The delegation which visited the scene and one of the hospitals where some of the victims were admitted describes the development as unfortunate and pathetic, noting that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is with the government and people of Jigawa State as death toll hits 167, with 97 still receiving treatments at various hospitals.
So many lives have been lost. We have visited some of the survivors in the hospital. President himself has directed immediate investigation of what has happened by the Federal Road Safety Commission, not just incident, but other similar ones in the country.
It's about more information dissemination in our communities about the danger of tanker explosion, oil spillage, containment. So it's about passing more information about the dangers and hazards of this thing.
We are going to continue to intensify and improve on our safety measures for conveying petroleum product and other product, preloading, well loading, and post loading, so that we get rid of all the carnages that is happening in our Nigeria road.
The message conveyed by the Secretary to the State Government from the President is something that is given us a lot of hope as a Jigawa people, because the President has shown a lot of love for us. He has shown a lot of concern for our people, and I think it is important we appreciate Mr. President.
The delegation, comprising of Defense Minister Muhammad Badru Abubakar under the leadership of Secretary to the Governments of the Federation, George Akume, was at the Emir's Palace Ringim to condole with the entire emirate over the disaster. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
In the meantime, we are still monitoring events from the devastating petroleum tanker explosion, which left a trail of destruction and loss of lives in its wake. This latest incident raises disturbing questions about Nigeria's continued vulnerability to such disasters. And our correspondent, Naja'atu Tijani, has been following this developing story and joins us now with a fact sheet on the alarming pattern of petrol tanker explosion across Nigeria. Naja'atu, from human error to infrastructure failures, what factors contribute more to these disasters?
Thank you, Jumai. Many questions indeed, in addition to the ones you've just asked. And we'll begin with a 10-year review from 2014 to 2024 of some of the incidents which have happened. The highest being, I'll just let the figures roll as you can see them, and I'll just quickly talk about them. The highest being the 2015 incident in Onitsha, which claimed 69 lives, and the next was the 2019 incident in Benue State, which claimed 50 lives. That's the highest second in the period under review. And investigations by NTA revealed a common pattern: brake failure and scooping of fuel, which is likely to cause ignition through friction, and of course sparks caused by some of these materials clanging together. And you will see that some of the common thread in the deaths of the people, in the common thread, the Jigawa case rather is the highest so far, with more than 153 people dead as at the time of doing our investigations. And so The highest has claimed 69 lives, and experts stress the need for robust emergency response and public education because petrol is a highly inflammable substance. Sparks from friction, static electricity, or open flames can ignite fuel, which the vapor can travel and ignite. That's it for now, Jummai. Other questions will be answered in subsequent issues.
Thank you, Naja. I think there should be more education on safety measures during disasters like this. And now let's bring you up to speed with other news as stakeholders in the Niger Delta region have again stressed the need for the people of the region, especially the Ijos, to work towards the achievement of the region's environmental renewal by ventilating ideas that will move the region forward. This was the thrust of the first ever pre-Pan Ijo Economic Summit held in Yenagua, Bayelsa State. Doris Akumwe reports that the summit had the theme environmental regeneration and economic sustainability.
The Niger Delta region, blessed with crude oil, has over the years been facing issues like environmental pollution, degradation and poverty, owing to oil exploration activities since it was discovered in Oloibiri in 1956. These activities has affected the communities and the source of livelihood of Ijo people, which is largely fishing. To address these issues is what the Pre-Pan Ijo Economic Summit seeks to find solution. Convener of the summit, Professor Steve Azaiki, said the conference will unlock potentials and opportunities in marine and blue economy in Ijo land, taxonomics of environmental regeneration and economic sustainability, agriculture and development of the region, among others.
One of the needs is looking at our environment. The second is human capital development. The other one is oil and gas. There is need for us to harness this potential, put it on the table, discuss it, and say how do we better our situation.
Former President Goodluck Jonathan, represented by Ambassador Bolade Igali, River State Governor and other stakeholders, said the future of the various regions lie in the ability to identify what they can do to better the lives of the people.
Soil is natural, organic fertilizer for agriculture. We must look closely into agriculture and the role we can play in being the agricultural trove of this country.
We must begin to inculcate in the younger generation the finer notions of the opportunities and prospects in the blue and marine economy.
We begin to paint people as the first line charge in every developmental agenda. Because when we have our people in mind, our people will do the things that will cause the changes that we need.
The fallout of the pre-conference is expected to serve as a guide to achieve the economic viability of the Ijo land. In Yenagoa, Doris Akomonye, NTA News.
As part of its contribution towards enhancing food security in Nigeria, Stanbic IBTC, a leading financial institution, has pledged its commitment towards transforming and boosting agricultural production in Nigeria through various strategic approaches. This was at the third series of Agri-Business Breakfast Summit in Abuja. Bosede Ebol Amosu reports.
Considering that the federal government has declared state of emergency on food security and also in line with a renewed hope agenda geared towards promoting and fostering the growth of agribusinesses in Nigeria, these key industry players here are conversing on driving economic transformation through agro-processing, building a sustainable future, resolving ways to strengthen food and nutrition security industry from access to finance, infrastructure, technology adoption, and capacity building for economic growth.
Land has to be open for mechanization to succeed. That means we must have a contiguous land between 1,000 hectares to 2,000 hectares in a given area.
There's such a huge link between processing and increasing production and yield. So we really do have to focus on it.
With $182 billion financing gap, participants are of the opinion that collaborating with relevant stakeholders and providing enabling environment is a lead towards sustainable system that will further improve the current capacity and growth in the non-oil sector.
The improved potential of agriculture's life beyond cultivation is in value addition, transforming raw products into high-quality goods that can compete both locally and globally. The current policy on agriculture is to have the private sector on the driver's side, while government provides enable environment.
So by developing stronger ties between the agro-processors and the farmers, we can create a robust ecosystem that benefits everyone.
As agriculture continues to be a vital contributor to the economy and the nation's gross domestic product, Stanbic IBTC, one of Nigeria's leading financial institutions, say it is committed to unlock untapped potential, generate wealth, create jobs, and reduce post-harvest losses in order to position Nigeria as a leading agro-industrial hub in Africa. In Abuja, Bosede Abul Amosu, NTA News.
Time now to join Michael in Lagos for more on Network News. Hello, Michael.
Jumai, good to see you. Celebrating 31 years of successful brand story, Promasidor Nigeria Limited, a market leader in the dairy industry, is awarding customers and trade partners in the ongoing Cowbell Milk So Creamy, So Good promo with 150 million naira up for grabs. The promo, which started 2 weeks ago, has produced 6 winners of £1 million, among other several cash prizes, and is open to customers from across the country till the end of November.
That was the voice of one of the 6 lucky millionaires that leveraged the opportunity provided by the ongoing Cowbell Milk So Creamy, So Good promo that availed Nigerians the chance to be among the 148 customers to benefit cash prizes and airtime to reward brand loyalty.
So once you buy, enjoy Cowbell, and then take the empty sachets to the nearest collection centers. If you go to our website, you would see the list of collection centers nationwide. Exchange this, they will give you a code, a scratch card which contains a code. You send the code to 1393 and then you enter into the raffle draw.
Every week we have 3 consumers winning 1 million naira each. We have 5 consumers winning 500,000 naira each, and we also have 10 consumers winning 200,000 naira each. Then 75,000 naira for 18 consumers, and the last one is 50,000 for 112 consumers.
We've seen the draw. We can say it's transparent.
Cowbell Milk remains a brand with a symbol of trust, quality, and consistency for over 3 decades.
We will continue in the future to commit in innovation.
We take pride in knowing that our products are a staple name in Nigeria and homes, and that we are helping families stay nourished.
The Cowbell Milk brand is a pioneer in the packaging of milk into smaller, affordable pack sizes. It also embarks on remarkable corporate social responsibility initiatives, such as the Cowpedia, to promote educational excellence. In Lagos, Amaka O, NTA News.
The largest airside jet fuel depot in Nigeria, known as Joint User Hydrant Installation, JOI-2, has been inaugurated at the Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos. Dana Jale reports that the 15 million litre capacity facility will guarantee constant supply of aviation fuel while creating jobs within the value chain.
For decades, the availability of aviation fuel has been a major factor influencing airfares, with consumption levels reaching 11.18 thousand barrels per day. Matching demand with supply has always been a challenge.
Commission of this facility.
The launch of the Joint User Hydrant Installation State-of-the-Art Aviation Fuel Depot, the 7 partners say, is aimed at reducing the burden faced by airlines in accessing the products, which in turn will create more job opportunities for the citizens.
It's going to bring a lot of development around the airport space. It's also going to encourage a lot of industries coming up, transportation, maintenance, logistics. These companies, we have a boost.
It's a big positive to make it happen. There's a big investment, there's employment opportunity, and we're ready to actually help.
described the noble initiative as a new dawn in the Nigerian aviation industry, as this will complement operators' access to aircraft financing and leasing, while increasing the presence of domestic carriers across the world.
We continue to encourage such collaboration. It's like what you saw in the banking sector many years ago when, banks had to consolidate, and then what we have today are the big banks. Coming together has aided this type of massive infrastructure, and it is something we commend to other people to follow too.
Situated on 46,000 square meters, the joint user hydrant installation, Joy 2, comes with cutting-edge designs, which includes the latest filtration system, ability to load truss browsers simultaneously, a jet fuel discharge system with 4 dedicated trucks, and state-of-the-art fire preventive measures. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Lagos Network News. We continue with Benny Adams after the news. Please stay.
And talking business now, the federal government, through the Bank of Industry, has invested more than 17.65 billion naira in Abuja Industrial Park, a special economic zone with a plan to replicate similar parks across the country. This was revealed as Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Dr. Doris Anite, visits BOI-assisted projects at Idu Industrial Area. The Abuja Park is a 97,000 square meters land area with 206 workshops expected to accommodate 177 companies, in addition to 100 megawatts independent power and a planned train station to facilitate exports and creating 40,000 direct jobs and more than 140 indirect jobs.
Reviving the economy and, more importantly, supporting export manufacturing, which is what you're doing here.
Similar stop at the furniture, polyurene and the flour mill. The minister commits to President Tinubu's efforts at fixing challenges of power, access to finance, multiple taxation, import duties and tariffs, in addition to access to raw materials, among other regulatory bottlenecks.
We've had a number of the financiers and the technical partners supporting those who produce these gas turbines coming to me, because we've been engaging when they came, the same time we've been engaging, trying to find the right partners to make this work. And so when we finalize, when we agree, we come out with a single communique and we sign an MOU on how we're going to solve power problem in Nigeria. I think that will become a thing of the past. And then we take on the next one. If it is tariffs that we agree, FX or multiple taxation, we also have a discussion around that, decide on and agree on how to remove each of these bottlenecks one by one, therefore stimulating our industries and revitalizing industries in line with the vision of His Excellency, Mr. President.
Well, that is it on business. Network News continues after this break.
Tinubu has joined other Nigerians, the people and chiefs of Ile-Ife and the global Yoruba community in congratulating the owner of Ife, Oba Ade Enitan Ogunwusi, the Ojaja II, as he marks his 50th birthday. The president lauds the Oni's extraordinary leadership and maturity since ascending the throne at the age of 41, emphasizing his significant role in preserving the rich traditions of the Yoruba people in the ancient city known as the Source. President Tinubu acknowledges Oba Ogunwusi's deep sense of duty, wisdom and knowledge as he fulfills his responsibility both as the traditional ruler of Ile-Ife, Osun State, and the revered spiritual leader of the Yoruba people. President Tinubu also recognizes the Oni's critical contribution as chairman of the National Council of Traditional Rulers of Nigeria, where he serves as a unifying figure, a steadfast supporter of government policies, and a passionate advocate for religious tolerance, peace, and the unification of our nation. Meanwhile, the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, says efforts are being intensified by relevant authorities to increase the safety of lives and properties nationwide and avert artificial calamity. The minister gave the assurance when he paid a condolence visit to the Group Chief Executive Officer of NNPC Limited, Mele Kyari, over the death of his 25-year-old daughter. Saliu Abdullahi Gwanara reports.
Accompanied by the Director Generals of the Nigerian Television Authority, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, and the Voice of Nigeria, the minister is among the latest mourners at the Abuja residence of the bereaved. Special prayers were offered for the peaceful repose of the soul of the deceased, Fatima.
Allah has taken her, and we know that Allah does not make mistake. And like every mortal that has tested life, we also test death. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant her Jannah Firdaus and to give the entire family the fortitude to bear this loss. And we know it's painful considering her age at just 25. As a reason for everything that has happened under this one. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant her Jannah Firdaus, to grant him and the entire family the fortitude to bear this loss.
He also condoled with the families and victims of the latest incidences of boat accident in Kwara and Niger State and the petrol tanker explosion that claimed many lives in Majia, Jigawa State.
Indeed, a tragedy too many. We don't expect this, but God knows best. It's a very tragic situation for our nation, and we also want to use this to appeal to people to be more cautious, especially with the incident in Jigawa, where you have this kind of tragedy. People should not rush outside, and our ministry and the National Orientation Agency are directed by the Senate. We will intensify efforts to sensitize Nigerians on the dangers of such situations, and we hope that this will be the last that we are going to witness this crisis. We have seen this too many.
In Abuja, Salihu Abdullahi Gwanara, NTA News.
The Flying Eagles will commence their defense on the WAFU 8 Under-20 Championship on Friday against the Young Stallions of Burkina Faso at the Municipal Stadium in Lomé, Togo. Coach Aliou Zubairu stated that the main goal of the team is to qualify for the Under-20 AFCON scheduled for early next year in South Africa. And with sports update, that's Network News for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I am Jumai Yosef.